Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pop. I'm making a short video tutorial in Ubuntu Basics showing a little bit about how you can use a word processor to create epubs, and in this session I'm going to be talking about how you can put pictures on either side of text. I have a picture of a morning glory flower to the left of the chapter heading, which is in red, and a picture of a telephone to the right of the chapter heading in red. And you can do this anytime you want to, and I'll show you how you can do it. And there are implications. I'm looking at it by means of the ebook viewer that comes with Calibre, and that's full screen. But let us say that you were looking at this with a tablet, and if you had a tablet, the screen is narrower, and you see how the thing moves over automatically. The flower is first, then the chapter heading in red, then the telephone. All I did was open up the table of contents here in order to make the screen smaller. I'm going to make it smaller yet, as though this were a cell phone, because you know cell phones don't show the picture to the left of text. The screen is so small that a lot of ebook software on a telephone will only allow you to see a picture in width, and then if there's room, then text. Now I've got the left picture came first, then the right picture, then the text, and I'm going to go down a page, and it just keeps going like that. Whereas if it is bigger, it progressively behaves correctly until the whole thing can be shown. I will show you now how to do that. I'm going to go over to the word processor, and this is the word processor, Libreoffice Writer. I'm running Linux Ubuntu, and this word processor creates what's called an ODT file, and after I run it through Calibre, it creates an epub or a Mobi, whatever you want to create. The way I have this thing set up in order to show the two pictures is as follows. If I tap on the picture of the flowers, you can see in the top left that's the anchor, and the anchor is on the same line as chapter 01. But if I tap on the telephone, guess what? It's the exact same anchor. It's on the same line and to the left, and it's all the way over. And if I right click the telephone now and go to the picture, you will see that it is going to be on the right, and the wrap is going to be leave ½ inch on the left. And if I go to the flower and right click and go to picture, it's the same thing but just the opposite. It says leave a ½ inch to the right, but put the picture on the left. In both cases it's to paragraph. In both cases it's 4 inches wide, and I had to put a check mark in here to keep the ratio. And in both cases it says top. Be aware of that. You can change that, but I selected top. Not from top, just top. And similarly here in horizontal it's left, not from left. It'll mess you up otherwise. While I'm up here at the beginning, let me page up. That's the title. That's going to be the cover. The first picture in the book is going to be the cover of the book unless you tell it otherwise. And then I've got the title again in text, and notice when I tap on it, it's in the title font, and I have it centered. Now I created these little arrows to the side, and it's an arrow with a little hook on it, and this is a line feed, and that way I can get the whole thing in there, because I did not want to hit enter, because when I hit enter each one's going to be separate. These are kept together then, And also I put a preliminary one up here in order to keep from having it indented. If I did not put this in there, then this word love would be indented a ½ inch, and then the rest of it would be centered. Try that out. It works really good. The way you make these, I've showed that before, is you go Shift, Control, U, and then A, and then Enter, and it creates a line feed symbol. I'm going to delete that now. I will go back to the EPUB, and I'm going to show you some more instances of how this works. Please notice up at the top there is a double line right here. This is not just decoration. That has some usefulness, and I'll show you how to do it and not do it at your desire. The nice thing about having the double line up there and having a page feed at the beginning of each chapter is, I'll show you. I'm going to go chapter 2, 3, 4. Every time I go to a new chapter, the new chapter appears at the top line. And notice how I put a picture to the left each time. Not each time, I mean there's a couple of them that I varied. And this has some usefulness beyond just the aesthetic of having uniformity and having the picture to the left. I mean, I could have put the picture to the right. Here is how it is useful. If I did not put that in, if I just allowed this book to have no space and no ruler in between chapters, well, then there would have been consequences. Each time you go to a new chapter, what's the first thing? Well, the first thing in the chapter is this H1 heading. This is H1. This precedes it. The picture precedes it, but it is not H1. So what would happen is that the chapter would go to right here, but this would be above it and it wouldn't show. And I'll show you the details of that in a second. Let me step through here and go to the very end. It's nice to put all the chapters in like this. Now notice how this one is not lining up. Well, it actually is lining up. It is that the font is too big and the picture is too big, and so it compensates. So if you go to a smaller font size, now it works, see? You go to a bigger font size and it moves over a little bit. If you go still yet to a bigger font size, it progressively just is going to finally move out of the way, I guess. I'm going to go now to the end, and there's something that I want to show when we get to the end. I've got some smaller pictures in here, and these are 2 inches rather than 4 inches. And each time I go down to a new paragraph, it starts at the top. Okay, let me show you what happens if you don't do that. I'm going to zap this, delete, right, enter, it's gone. I'm going to put it in again, and now I'm going to add the ODT file. And when I add the ODT file, I'm going to convert it, but this time I'm going to convert it in a slightly different manner. I'm not going to put in that double line. I'll hit convert. Now here I go to structure detection, and you see where the chapter mark says both? That's what I had in there. I had both the rule and the page break. I'm going to go to none, and when I hit none, it's going to convert this book into an EPUB again, but it's going to be slightly different in behavior, and I will show you what it looks like. Takes a second. As you get more and more in tune with the way this thing works, you become less and less and less frustrated and more and more and more creative. But boy, the learning curve is a tough one. In my opinion, I think that, my crystal ball anyway, I think that LibreOffice Writer and Microsoft Word and everybody else is furiously working on the ability to create EPUBs directly from the word processor itself. However, Calibre is so good, I cannot tell you. I think Calibre is the best thing in the world. Okay, I'm opening up the EPUB, and I'm going to go to this again. And let's go down, and it takes a second. The first time you do that, it takes a second. Looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good, looks good. Let me go to the place at the bottom there where I had those little bitty 2-inch pictures, and I want to show you what that looks like. I'm going to it, and let me make this wide as possible, and I'm going to go down a font size, and let's go next page. You see, every time you go down, it does not necessarily have the chapter heading at the top. Sometimes it does, just by luck. Now I'm going to go down a size in font, down a size in font. Now see what it does. This is what I wanted to demonstrate. It overlaps like this. It's well behaved, it's perfectly understandable, but that's the way it works. I had to pause recording. My phone went off, and I'm going to splice these together. I wanted to just step through this and show you a little bit more about this. You can make it look very nice by positioning the pictures any way you want to. You can have fun with this. You can get tasteless. You can be very artistic. I think the pictures kind of help sell a book. There aren't many pictures in books because it costs money. But you can even put moving pictures in. This is an animated GIF. It does not show up on a Mobi, but it shows up on an EPUB. I have not verified whether or not this works on a Nook. My name is Pop, and I've got a whole bunch of videos on YouTube called Ubuntu Basics, and this has been about Calibre, and I thank you very much.